So welcome to another episode of Women Petprenures with your host, Maryoquendo. And my guest today is Valerie McFadden. Hey, Valerie.
Hi, how are you?
How's it going?
Good, good.
So I've known Valerie for a little while. We're actually, I think, real friends in the real world.
I would say so.
All right. She's actually manned a booth for me. So that's give her kudos and extra congratulations. And thank you very much for doing that. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. But so I always like to start these out with how you got involved in the pet industry. So let's start there.
Okay. So back in 1996, I signed up for an animal healthcare ROP class, regional occupational program, and it was through my high school. And I tried so hard to get into a vet's office because I thought that was the path I was supposed to take. Like most of us, we don't realize grooming is a viable option for a career. And the two options were to be put in a vet's office or a grooming shop. And I I fell into a grooming shop because someone else had backed out of it. And what was supposed to be just a 2-week like internship turned into a 5-year job. So I ended up being a bather, and kind of an apprentice at that shop for about 5 years until they closed their doors.
Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of kept on from there. So
Yeah, even you make a point that, so many of us think, oh, we want to work with animals, so vet is our only real option.
mhm.
And it's nice to see. I think today there's more community colleges and more schools that, this is a viable option. It's a trade.
Yeah, very much so. And it's a skilled trade.
And you know what? I never worried about where I was because I could pick up my clippers. I could work anywhere,
Mhm.
you know, just put a notice on Facebook. Hey, I'm moving to this town. I need a job.
Yep. I mean, look at Meg, you know, so she
So,
says, I'm going to be in a place and, finds gigs at different shops and that sort of thing. So it's a very versatile thing.
all right. So, Valerie's referring to Meg Alfredo, the traveling groomer. And she's not the only one that does that, by the way.
Right.
So, yeah, she has a vehicle and she just moves where she wants to move to. Oh, I think I'll try Florida for a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Then finds work very, very easily. And then you know what? Let's do, I don't know, Louisiana next. Whatever, and just moves it along and, finding places that she likes and finding work is not a problem.
Absolutely.
Right. So you started off, then you worked there for 5 years until they closed their doors.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
I actually picked up a pet sitting job for some friends of mine that ran a fire protection company. And I worked for them for a few years, but also in the meantime would groom like family and friends' dogs and things like that on the side. And then after I'd been with them for, I think it was like almost 5 years, my daughter got out of preschool and I was able to get back into the grooming industry in a job that was closer to home. And so from there, I learned how to groom officially. And I've been going, so I worked there for a few years and then I started doing like out of my home. I would do, like a couple dogs here and there. And then I got too busy to be able to maintain that. And then I began mobile because it was just easier to go to them than it was to have everyone come into my house.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel that like on a cellular level.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't want grooming clients in my home.
Yeah.
Couple occasions when weather is bad and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not driving to your house, but you're welcome to come to my house and I'll
Mhm.
get out of my van. And I had a couple of people take me up on that and I'm realizing, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's rough when they know where you live.
Yeah. And you know what? I had one of my clients literally lived around the corner from me and
Oh,
he called
goodness.
me up one night at like 11 o'clock at night. And this is back in the early days. All right.
Mhm.
So it was landlines and all that good stuff. So in my sleep, I picked up the phone. I'm thinking, who's calling me at 11 o'clock at night?
Right.
Must be one of my kids.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And no, his big giant German Shepherd just got skunked and he's having a party in a couple of days.
Oh,
Calls me up at 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, my dog got skunked. Can you come out here and give him a bath?
oh my gosh.
So I'm like, Don, got pen and paper. and I'm going to give you the recipe for deskunking your own dog at 11 o'clock at night. And then he tries to pull the old card, but I'm an old man. Yeah. And I'm like, who also ran an electric company, electric. So, Don, what do you charge for after-hour calls? I'll go get that pen and paper right now. Now, tomorrow at the end of the day, that I can do.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's actually, I was gonna say, that's actually why I got a business phone separate from my personal phone, because I was getting phone calls at, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. And it's like, that's my day off. I don't want, I don't want my personal phone to be blowing up because people think, and I realize you think about it at weird times. Oh, I need to get the dog groomed. I should let them know now. And so I understand that. So when that happened, I went, oh, we're going to curb this right now.
Yeah, because separate phone line. I mean, my vet, right? So I have one of my dogs is diabetic, and he needs supplies of insulin and needles.
Right.
And I'll be in the evening going, oh, I need another bottle of insulin, or I need another bottle of needles, and I will just text my vet. No, I know they're not in their office. They're not going to see that text on the next business day, but now it's off my plate.
Absolutely.
All right. And then I'll get the text the next business day. Yeah, it's ready. When do you want to pick it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they did it, on their time. And yeah, it's a lot easier that way.
So yeah, that separate business line. And you know what? Or my phone is as do not disturb. So between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. My phone is on do not disturb. My husband's phone is not. And the only people, but he's not a business.
Right.
The only people that have his number are our kids. So if they call my phone and it goes to message and it's important, they'll call my husband's phone.
Oh, that's smart.
So yeah, separate your business from your personal life. You will be so much happier, so that when you get that text that someone sent you it's Sunday at 4 o'clock in the morning because they can't sleep because their dog smells or what keeping them up, you're not getting that message until business hours. And you just make sure that your message reflects this.
Yeah.
All text and phone calls are returned between the hours of this and this. I have friends who've been doing that for a really long time. Between 4 and 8, Monday through Friday. That's when phone calls are returned. Calls are not returned during the business work day. This is very, very specific hours.
Right.
Okay. So you open your own mobile grooming business. So let's talk mobile for a second.
Okay.
Mobile knocked the bomb.
Yes. Oh my God. I love it so much. Hang on. I'm going to turn my volume up just a little bit here. There we go. Okay. And yes, I absolutely love it so much. It's my favorite.
I couldn't, honestly and truly, when I had to make a decision before I got the second van, so like 2016, on that, make a decision, retire in 2016 or get a new van.
Yeah.
Or other options would have been I could work for somebody else. That went very quickly off the table.
No.
I'm not going to do that. And I did get the second van in 2016 and I sold it in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because I still had a couple more years I wanted to work. I wasn't ready to retire yet.
Right.
Wasn't set up to do so. I mean, honestly, truly, if I look back now, probably I should have, but, and then move forward with what I'm doing. But I didn't have that confidence in myself yet to do that. So having an alternate plan for the day that, you know what, I need to retire. I need to have alternate plans. I need to have planned for this. So which bring me around to, let's talk about some of the things you're doing to plan for your future.
Okay. So I have created, and what we didn't talk about was I actually was thinking about this in between all of this. And when I was grooming like from home, we did that so that I could be home with the kids more and I could be, more or less a stay-at-home parent, but also still be able to contribute to the household. In that time, I learned how to make all kinds of things. And I do things with my hands a lot. Like I have to be fussing with things. I have to be making things or doing things. And I had started making, like I started sewing. I used to make laundry soap. I made all kinds of crazy stuff. And one of the things that I was doing was making lip balm, which, I didn't even think anything of it. It was just kind of a fun little thing for me to do. And I had gone back, like I actually found all of my old stuff recently. And I kind of went, I could do that again. Like that would be so cool to get back into. And going up to the Tacoma show, actually, I was going with Erin Hooland, and we were talking about different things like, different aspects of the business and things like that. And we were talking about her subscription box service that she has. And we were kind of discussing, and she goes, what we don't have in the industry is a wellness box geared towards groomers. And I went, guess what?
I'm going to bring up 2 points before you go further.
Mm-hmm.
One is where you are in life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I first went mobile, my father was in a nursing home and he had to go to doctor's appointments. And I needed a lot of flexibility in my schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after I didn't have to do that anymore, my husband lost his kidneys and was going for all sorts of medical tests and dialysis, yada, yada, yada. And then he got on the transplant list, and my schedule still needed a lot of flexibility.
No kidding.
But when I also started, my kids were out of high school. I didn't have young kids. So we have to look at our lives and see how our businesses serve us in our lives.
Right.
Okay. So for you with young kids, more stay at home. Me, I needed flexibility, and that's what mobile grooming gave me flexibility. I remember a phone call, someone calling up and said they wanted an appointment, and then she gave me her availability, and she goes, and I go to her, well, I'm on vacation that week. And she goes, oh, lucky me, I'm on vacation too. And she thought it took her like a couple of seconds. Like, oh, you're not available.
Yeah.
One of the nicest things about mobile is nobody knows when you're opened or closed.
That's correct.
Right. So your van's parked in your driveway. It's not out and about town. Nobody knows what your hours are or what your days are because you're not a storefront.
Right.
So the second thing I want to point out is having friends in the industry. And what I mean by that is that you find supportive people who want to see you succeed, people who are where you want to be, people who are open with their struggles, what it is they're doing, and how they can help you. Those are the people you want in your life. Erin is one of those people.
Oh, I absolutely adore her. Yeah. Yep. And if it weren't for her just mentioning that simple thing, I probably would not be doing this right now. Like I'd be doing my thing, but it wouldn't be something I would put out there for other people, And
and Erin has the experience.
Yes.
She has a creative grooming box.
Yep. I'm a subscriber.
So there's the people who are willing to help you. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Have an idea and you're thinking, oh, they're just going to steal my idea and do it, or they're going to somehow put you in your place. That who are you to do this? Those are not the people you want to be around.
Yep.
Right. So let's do a shout out to Erin. Erin being really good. Okay. And helping you. She helped you get the subscription box going.
And I will say one other thing too, and I will probably touch on this later, but it has to do with continuing education, because we were talking about it, and I even saw that she had offered that as a class, how to start a subscription box service.
Yes.
And I looked at that and went, oh, I'm never going to need that. So I didn't take that class. Look at me kicking myself all these months later when I should have taken the class.
Okay, so this is a thing for Erin. Erin, okay, on Positive Ed, because you use it quite frequently for your classes, you can put up a class there on how to do a subscription box. It's just saying, give Angie a holler and tell her you want to do that. So, all right. So a wellness subscription box and a creative subscription box. Yes, they're the same thing, but they're totally different markets.
Absolutely.
You know, I personally have no use for a creative grooming box. First of
Right.
all, I'm not grooming anymore. And when I wasn't, I didn't, it wasn't my thing. You know, I played around with it and yeah, it's not my thing. I didn't want to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. All right. But having somebody to like at least give you like, dude, this is what you do, this is how you're doing it, this is where you source stuff, this is how you source things for it.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's talk now a little bit about your, all right, so let's before we get that far.
Okay.
All right, so you have this idea, okay, want to do a subscription box.
Yeah.
What's your first thoughts?
My first thoughts were, who do I know that I can have contribute to these boxes? Because I can't provide everything for them myself. I can't make everything that I want to put in them. So I have a girlfriend who I actually met at the last grooming shop I worked at. She worked in front of the house, and it was like a self-wash and grooming shop. So she would do like, handling all the people coming in to wash their own dogs. She would bathe for us every once in a while. And she and I actually became really good friends. And she, on the side at the time, excuse me, on the side at the time, had a candle business that she was starting. Well, here we are now, all these years later, and it's her full-time job. It's what she does for a living. It's how she supports herself and her son. And I was like, I got to get a hold of her and have her, see if she wants to contribute, candles to the box, because and the first one is going to be kind of like your standard typical, like wellness box. It's going to have, candles and little goodies for, for people. In the future, I want to add things that are more, like for, what's the word I'm looking for? Like for physical health. Like there's little things that I want to put in that help like your hands stretch, and, tools that we can use, in our shops and just like at home, that'll help with like muscle relaxation. Maybe not putting so much pressure and stress on our hands, maybe, a little help for our feet, that sort of thing, since we're standing up all day and stuff like that. So the first run of boxes is going to be like kind of for the senses, so like the candles are, if you want, I actually have one right here.
Yeah, so open it up and let's see what's in there.
Okay, so the candle that we're using is, there we go. It's surf wax scented. But it's like let's see, what does she have? It's coconut milk, brown sugar, and banana. So it's just a really nice, yeah, it really smells good. But it's a really nice, pleasant summer scent. And just kind of like, because I mean, right now we're hot everywhere in the US. And I figure right now it's probably going to be like US groomers, but eventually, hopefully international at some point, if anyone's interested. But just kind of to kind of give you a little something for your senses, But then another item that I ended up, because I have another friend who owns a business. She owns a coffee catering business, who I actually worked for. Each of my daughters worked for her as well. And I got in touch with her because I also groom her dogs once a month. So, but she contributed a matcha tea latte mix.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can, and it has the instructions on the back and a QR code to go to her website. But also a little bottle of vanilla syrup that she made to go in it to sweeten it. So it doesn't have to have like, harsh sugars and things like that. So yeah, so I wanted to source things, and not everything in the box is from, a small business yet. At some point I will get to that point. But I wanted to start kind of promoting small businesses a little bit more. And, I do want to reach out to other groomers in the community. I've got a couple that I'm talking to right now that are going to be putting things in future boxes and things like that. So I want to just kind of help people feel better while also promoting other people in our industry.
All right. I know two of the people that you're talking to. Have you also started a conversation with Melissa Conti-Diener?
Not yet. She is on my list of people I want to reach out to.
And maybe Kate Klassen?
Yeah, actually, I'm friends with both of them on Facebook. I wanted to, I mean, I'm a little nervous about reaching out to people sometimes. But I think that, once we do this and, I start like messaging people, like, because Michelle Knowles is working on something for the November box that I'm super excited about. And I think because like she's friends with Melissa Conti-Diener, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
okay.
good.
So
Very
I
good
think
friends
that,
with T. Clausen too.
well, perfect.
All right, utilize your network.
Yep, absolutely. Because that's the other thing too. It's like, who is this random person just, reaching out and saying whatever. It's like, I just, you know, we'll get there. I'll reach out to each of them and see what we can work on and things like that. And then your other friend that you sent me the info for, she and I have a phone call set up for tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, that's super secret. So we're not even going to say who it is.
Yep. Nope. Yep.
But her super secret thing will be in an upcoming box of yours, correct?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
very excited for you. And
Thank
before
you.
we go further, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Hold on a second. It's just a recording I'm going to throw in
If
here.
you're a dog lover, A Spirited Life is a must read. Filled with personal photographs, this book takes you on a journey through the life of the incredible Spirit Oquendo. It offers inspiration for anyone who feels life has dealt them a rough hand. Despite facing challenges, this dog, with the support of his mom, Mary, transformed his adversity into something truly remarkable. This book's humorous and touching anecdotes will have you laughing, crying, and occasionally spitting out your drink. Get your copy at positiveed.com/books.
Okay. You've got the book, right?
I do. I have a signed copy.
Oh, that's right. You do. You read it though. That's the second question.
I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Did you read it?
Not yet. I haven't finished it. I had no downtime since I got back from Colorado.
Colorado was crazy, wasn't it?
It was so much fun though. I had a really good time.
It was. Well, no, the show was great. It was home. That was the problem.
See, we drove.
Yeah, that was not a
Yeah.
problem for you guys.
It was long, but it wasn't a problem.
All right, so let's now continue talking about your box. How much is your box going to be a month?
So we are selling them for $50
Okay.
and it includes the shipping. So it doesn't, it doesn't, that's not an extra thing on there. It looks like tax will be added for certain states just because we couldn't figure that into the cost of stuff. Our website is being a little funny about that. So if you're in a state that doesn't charge the sales tax or what have you, then it's fine. But if like you're in California, because we're in California, then you're going to get charged the sales tax for it.
Yeah, Washington will get charged the sales tax too.
Right.
So, all right, that's good to know. It's good that they collect it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and that's what's kind of nice about some of the payment processors out there.
Mhm.
Will it remit it for you, or do you have to remit it? I'm curious.
What do you mean?
So they collect it.
Yeah.
Do you get it and you have to remit it to California, or do they collect it and they remit it to California?
That is an excellent question. I have never dealt with anything dealing with sales tax because in California, services don't charge sales tax. Like your rate is your rate and that's all there is to it. So this is kind of new territory for me. So that's something I'm sure, because my husband is handling that side of everything too. So I'm sure he knows the answer to that. But
if not, maybe pose that question to him.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me write that down real fast.
Yeah, you know what? You don't want to get afoul of tax.
No,
And
absolutely not.
you don't want to collect it and then not remit it.
No,
because the state take a very dim view of that.
Well, and I mean, something else that I actually recently learned, because I'm getting a financial education as well. But someone had brought it to my attention that if you put that money into a high yield savings account and hold on to it for, until it's time to pay those taxes, then you have that money set aside. It's earning interest for you. And then when your tax bill comes, you have the money to pay it and you're done and you have a little extra.
Well, yeah, having that separate tax account is you have to have it.
Yep.
All right, because otherwise you don't think about it.
Nope, absolutely. And you're like, oh, I have that money. I'm just going to spend it. Well, then it's gone. And then where are you?
then that's why people have a lot of issue at the end of the year when they do if they're paying yearly instead of quarterly. I prefer quarterly.
Yeah.
State of Washington doesn't want my money quarterly. State of Washington wants it yearly. But federal government, they'll take my money quarterly. They don't got a problem with that.
Yep. They don't care. They'll take it.
They'll take it. They'll take it. And then, but it's paid and the money's in the account. And then I just got to write a check on the account for it. Or the IRS is like, well, you know what, we can also do this electronically. And I'm like really hesitant about giving the IRS permission to
Right.
take money out of my account.
Yep. Absolutely.
They're going to take money out of the account, and without my permission, they're going to have to work a little harder for it than just putting the request in. Just saying. Okay. So $50 a month for a box, which is not bad. Okay. First of all, it's like getting a present every month.
Absolutely. That was my thought too.
All right. So you're getting a present every month, which does not want a present. We do need to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes opening up a present is the best self-care you could do for yourself. Never mind what's in the box, you know, that, ooh, I got a present this month. This is really cool.
Right. Well, it's like yesterday, I got my creative groomer box and I was so excited when I got home because I get to open, and I got to open mail. I got to open something that was for me, you know, like no one else in my house, you know, cares what's in there. I am so excited to have it.
And so now how will someone sign up for your box?
So we have a website, and it is oasisbyohana.com. I have the place for the sign up for the boxes. We also have like the lip balm separate, and I also made that lavender salve as well that I have up there. You know, just, you know, little fun little extras. I've got some other ideas for recipes I want to use for some of the stuff and put up there. But yeah, you can go to the website and place the order. We actually got our first order last night.
Yes, and actually, I know who put that order in, was not me, but be doing one shortly.
Yep.
And she was very excited to be the first person to do it. She texted me to say, I'm the first person. I'm like,
oh. Well, and I texted her last night. It was like midnight our time. So it was like 3 or 4 in the morning her time. And I was like, hey, the site's live if you want to go on and place your order now. And she was on it like quick.
yeah, I know. I don't think she personally sleeps.
I don't think so either.
And honestly and truly, it's got to be the amount of Dr. Pepper she drinks.
I can relate though.
Okay, so $50, and how many? And I know you're limiting the number of boxes.
Yes, because I don't want to have like excessive inventory here at the house because we are doing it, you know, from home for now. And I also, if there's any kind of snag or hang up or issue, I only have to apologize to 12 people. So, you know, we're just, that way I can limit it. And then, you know, as interest grows, we can always add more, you know, more inventory, because a lot of the stuff I can source relatively easily. You know, my friend with the candles lives in the next town over. My friend with the coffee, you know, the different coffee items we're going to offer, she literally lives in the same town as me. So these are things that I can, you know, easily get a hold of and that sort of thing.
And I think it also makes it easier for the smaller business to send you a set number.
Yeah.
And not think, oh my God, I got to send this woman 100 items.
Right. Exactly.
So I like that it's 12. All right. But you do have plans for future growth though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yep.
All right. So tell me about your future growth.
Okay. So what we are hoping for is by the end of the year, because I also recognize that as the year goes on, things get busier and crazier for groomers, that I would like to have the volume be by the end of December at 24 boxes. And then beyond that, you know, maybe fingers crossed, I can get up to 50, you know? Yeah.
So now going up by, so you're going to start off at 12. And then growing by up to 24 now, so that's double. Okay. So how do you plan to be able to accommodate that growth and still be mobile grooming?
Well, I do have a lot of support and help from my husband and my son, who are going to be like my box packers. My husband is going to be handling the website stuff. He's going to have to show me how to work these things in case, something happens. He goes on a dive trip, he's out of town, what have you, because he scuba dives for a hobby. And so, I'm going to need to be able to do those kinds of things. But also, this is in no small part to kind of take some of the pressure off of the mobile grooming and, I don't know, maybe be able to focus on the dogs I want to groom as opposed to the ones I have to groom. Maybe take a little bit. That's my self-care in all of this.
You know what? And scaling down. So, and when I first got the new van, before I got the new van, my schedule was lovely. I was working, I don't know, 3 days a week, 4 dogs a day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. But I didn't have a van payment. What made me make that decision was now the van was going on 15 years of age, and now there's the inevitable breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I'm only working 12 dogs a week, that's not putting enough money into a capital fund for that. So it was either retire, wrap it up, call it a day, or get a new van. But when I got the new van, that means now I have a new van payment. So I got to go back up, at least initially, full time until I at least get that van paid off.
Mm-hmm.
It happens very quickly, by the way, for those who are in mobile grooming. And then I went back down to that whole, I think when I actually retired, I was down to 4 dogs, 4 days a week, but 4 dogs a day. So 16 dogs a week before I pulled the plug on that. And that's because I had to make a decision between positive educational training and mobile grooming. I had to make a decision on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm sitting here looking at some of my days. Like last night, I didn't get home until almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And some of that is because I was out of town, and some of it is because, we, especially living in Southern California, it's so hard. And anyone who lives here will tell you it is so expensive to live here. And it's just, you have to, you have to overdo it in order to survive. So, what I'm looking to do is maybe not have to do that to myself so much anymore. It's like when I go out of town, just take those appointments and move a couple and maybe cancel until the next time they're supposed to come up due for their appointment, as opposed to trying to fit everybody into corners where I just don't have time to fit them, really.
Well, yeah. Okay. Now, do you know what your number is to retire from mobile grooming with a subscription box?
No, I haven't gone that far yet.
Okay, but is that something that's a goal of yours?
Not necessarily. I think that I will always want to have a hand in mobile grooming, one way or the other. I'm still far enough away from that to where I can't see myself not doing it.
Okay.
Even just a little bit, even like you said, 4 dogs a day for 4 days a week, something like that, because I just don't feel like and maybe at some point, later on down the line, I'll be ready to say, okay, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't have to do this anymore. But for right now, I haven't thought that far ahead.
Okay. Well, that's fine too. Okay. But it's nice to have that. Well, let me think ahead and where it is I want to go.
Right.
Because when I moved out here and when I went full time with education, it wasn't my intention to sell positive ed.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are.
Yep.
And I'm moving now in a different direction. And even from this point forward, I'm still moving in a different plan, but one that makes sense for me, one that I want to do. And I think that's the key word, want to do.
Right. Speaking of, have you named your greenhouse yet?
Oh, Gooseberry Patch.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So for Pooh Bear
That's
is
cute.
Gooseberry Patch.
Aw.
I mean, I got some silly answers. Okay. La Casa Verde. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, no. But then someone sent me a message and asked me, what is it that I really like growing in there?
Mm-hmm.
It's like berries, my berries, because it's it's not necessarily year round, but
Yeah.
it's my favorite part of walking into the greenhouse where I can go up to one of my fruit bushes and I had a strawberry, big, huge strawberry this morning,
Oh, wow.
and I just walk in there and just pull a fruit off my bush and yum,
Mhm.
So I do want to get like, the small orange and small lemon trees in there as
Oh,
well.
nice.
But I need to go through a winter first and see how well I can keep that warm.
Yeah.
We introduce lemons and maybe even grapefruit too. I like grapefruit.
Ooh, that'd be good.
So we'll see.
Very cool. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too. So, but that's one of the directions I want to go in. And you know what? And there's um and I don't know where that'll take me just yet because it's too new in there for me.
Right.
But I don't know which direction do I want to do, like essential oils from the fruits?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, dusted off my camera,
Mm-hmm.
getting back into photography again. I
Mm-hmm.
still have one foot in the pet industry.
Yeah. But isn't it nice to have those options?
Yes, and let's talk options. It's nice to have options.
Yeah.
Not feel like you're in a career that you have no choice but to kill yourself doing because you don't have options. And I will tell you, you always have options. You just see your options at the moment. You may not think they're there, but I'm telling you, options are there. Um, Maybe look at the people you're hanging around with and find a new group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and um, or get a coach, see what your options really are.
Right.
Sometimes that investment in a coach is you can't put a value on that if it
Mhm.
pivots you in a direction you didn't think you would be in.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anyway,
Yes.
back to you.
Oh.
Okay, because this is the Valerie McFadden show. Right. So you're also teaching.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've taught my burnout class for you twice. The first time I did it as a, kind of looking at my own life and how I was going straight into, I was so burnt out. It wasn't even funny. And so I was able to really take my real life experiences, and by the time I taught the class the second time, I was able to take things that I was going through, take the tips that I had given in the class, apply them to my own life, and then come back with results, which was actually kind of a neat experience because, I just kind of was in this mindset when you work alone and you work in such, yes, I see people all day long, but it's such an isolated environment. You kind of get stuck in your own head, and it's real easy to burn out. And I was able to take things from like the outside world, ideas that I'd gotten from, what other people were doing, and apply them. And then, I started, going up to like the Tacoma show, and hanging out with Erin and working at your booth. And, I went up to Colorado and I worked with Erin at her booth. And these are things that, like I was able to go and talk to people and network. And, it kind of helps to like open my eyes a little bit. And taking those experiences and putting them into the classes, it really helps, and having it be real world stuff as opposed to, oh, I found all this advice online and here you go, just to do with it what you will.
Yeah. So I'm a huge proponent of going to conferences, I ran an online, and you know what? I'm a proponent of online education because it just makes it easy to get that continuing education. However, there's still a place for all different types of education. One of them is going to a trade show.
Yep.
Okay. Of actually seeing product, all right, of putting equipment in your hands and talking to people, because who goes to trade shows? People who are there for continuing education.
Yep. They want to know, they want to learn, they want to touch things, they want to be an actual part of the industry in a tangible way.
Yes. Okay. So go to trade shows and talk to your fellow groomers. Okay. They're a wealth of information. And sometimes they remind you of things because, there's so much stuff up here. to remind you of things you've actually forgotten. So
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
tell you something and like, I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't I applying that? Or why wasn't I doing that? I know that.
And sometimes you just kind of need that little extra push, that little reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the small trade shows are so good for that. Much
Mhm.
and I like the big trade shows, don't get me wrong. I'm going to Super Zoo and
Same here. I'll see you there.
you know, and that it puts a new definition to large as far as
Mhm.
shows are concerned. And I do love them. But sometimes the opportunity is limited there. You're exposed to more,
Mhm.
but sometimes I think that's more on a periphery level.
Yeah.
Like you're aware it's there.
Mhm.
Don't necessarily get an opportunity to really dive deep into some of the connections you are made. I mean, you
Right.
can make connections and follow up with them afterwards, but at the show can be really hard to do that.
Do you know how many bags of things that I grabbed, like pamphlets, leaflets, business cards, this and that and the other, from like Super Zoo 2-3 years ago that are still hanging on the back of my rocking chair because by the time you get home, it's so overwhelming because you were thrown all of this information, all of these things, and you just kind of go, okay, yeah, I'll deal with it later. But like the smaller shows, I feel like you're right. You get overwhelmed at the bigger ones, but then at the smaller ones, you have a more intimate thing where you can talk to the vendors a little bit more, freely because you don't have 800 other people in the booth at the same time clamoring for their attention, you know.
What I'll do with Super Zoo with the suitcase of information that I just got is
Mhm.
before as I'm packing to get ready, as I'm packing, I'll go through that material very quick.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because some of it I know I'm not really interested in.
Mhm. Right.
I can at least whittle it down. Then it's not when I get home, it's not a suitcase.
Mhm.
Might be a third. I usually ditch about 2/3 of that before I leave.
Oh, okay.
And so when I get home, it's not this huge thing to go through. Now it's just a much smaller pile of things that I really have interest in.
Mhm.
And even still, half of that goes,
Right.
you know, and not sitting on my rocking chair for 3 years. And with that, I would have little piles
Yeah.
of this from
Mhm.
each of the super zoos that I have been to.
Yeah.
And I've made appointments with people.
Mhm.
I need to talk to you. We're
Yeah.
both going to be at Super Zoo. Let's set a specific time so
Mhm.
we can talk.
Mhm. Yeah. I did that last year and I need to get back in touch with her, but Paulina Anderson for the CPR classes. I'm actually going to be going back to the teaching thing. I'm going to reach out to her about teaching a CPR class potentially at her shop. She had offered me the opportunity because I'm having a heck of a time trying to find a place here where people want to do it. Like I taught a class at one of my old shops that I worked at, but they had revamped it. And now like there's no space in there anymore. Cause when I worked there, it was like a totally open floor plan. It would have been perfect.
All
But
right, you
it's
should
like,
have your clients see what they have. I have
mhm.
done the first, so we're talking about the pet tech, pet first aid classes now. So I have done that for clients who are in communities where they have a community center, so to speak,
Yeah, like a clubhouse.
clubhouse. They have table and chairs.
Mhm.
And if a member rents it, it's actually either free or a nominal charge.
Yeah. Usually it's a deposit that's refundable.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done classes there. I've tapped your local fire department,
Oh, okay.
right? They usually have, because they hold classes there for themselves all the time, they usually have table and chair set up. I did that class up in Maine one time. Daryl Connor, she
Oh.
goes, hey, will you come up to Maine to do a class? And I'm not saying no to Daryl Connor. It doesn't matter if it's a 20-hour drive. I was not saying no to Daryl Connor.
Mhm.
Okay. So she had two local firehouses. One wanted to hold the class, but one didn't have tables and chairs. But the other firehouse had table and chairs and was willing to give them up to the other firehouse. And we did that
Nice.
all for an exchange for a firefighter from each of those firehouses to take
Mhm.
the class at no charge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you're special to me, I will travel to do a class.
Yeah.
And Daryl Connor made that cut. So, but those are other options for you.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea too. Thank you.
Right. So my next question for you is, have you submitted your burnout class to any of the trade shows?
No, not yet.
Um,
I would like to now. Okay. So I would like to do it for possibly one of the smaller shows next
Okay.
year.
Cool.
I'm potentially Tacoma and Colorado because they're still close enough for me to be able to get to, relatively easily. So I was actually thinking
I'll
about,
say this about Pasadena. They look for a lot of education at Pasadena. You
Yeah.
might have a much better chance putting that into Berkeley, and they're going to be setting up Pasadena really soon, just to let
Right.
you know.
okay,
Sending an email to Chanel@barkley.com and saying, hey, I've got this burnout class. I've already done it twice for positive ed. I would like to do it at Pasadena.
okay,
If it does well at Pasadena, then Tacoma shouldn't be too much of a jump. And of course, Tina at Colorado, I bet would love to have it too. It's a really, really good class.
thank you.
So for those who know me well, know I will be following up with Valerie in a couple of weeks. Actually
Yep.
do that.
Yeah, I'm on the hook now.
Good choice. There's a small chance I will be at Pasadena. I haven't made that decision yet.
Okay.
I finally got my 2025 planner, and now I got to start throwing dates in there and see what is viable for me.
Yeah. Well, always plan your vacations and your breaks and your trade show dates before you put anything else in stone. I've learned that one.
Oh yeah. I will tell you, one of the best things when I went mobile, probably one of the smartest things before I even realized it was how smart it was my husband worked for the city of New York, and he had 5 weeks of vacation at this point in his career. So when I got my appointment book, first thing I did was X out those 5 weeks.
Yep, that's a good idea.
And I would tell you that was the smartest thing that I ever did, because those appointments were never available.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, with something else, never mistake your free time for your availability. Something else I learned a long time ago.
Yeah, that's another, and the beginning and an end to your day. Decide, and you can decide when that is.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to tell you, your beginning of your day is not the second you wake up. Okay. And the end of the day is not the minute before you go to bed.
Right.
Decide on when your day is going to begin and when your day is going to end. You will be a much happier person.
Yeah.
There is always something to do in a business, always.
That's true.
At the end of the day, there's something you still have to do. Even if you're going to bed a minute before you go to bed, there's something you didn't do. If you plan your day with a beginning and end, your mind is a better spot. You will find you are actually more productive and get more things done if you just do a beginning and an end to your day.
Okay, we're going to note that for extra stuff in the class.
That's fine. Seriously, add it. And it's probably one of the lessons I had to learn about having a beginning and an end, especially when you're juggling two different things.
Right.
You're going to be juggling doing this subscription box.
Yeah.
And mobile grooming.
Yep.
And teaching. You really, for your own peace of mind, set a beginning and end to the day.
Yeah. Yeah, because first thing I woke up this morning and we had an extra order that I didn't even plan on. I woke up and I got an email that said, hey, you got a payment for, someone had ordered a lip balm and one of the lavender salves separate from the box. And I was like, oh, that's right. We put these are things I'm gonna have to think about.
Oh, yeah, too. And a couple of things, I know you mentioned it about laundry detergent
Yeah.
and maybe those little dryer balls too that you could, you know what, I'm just thinking of things that I want, you know?
Well, the laundry soap was actually, I would make it in a 5-gallon bucket, not even kidding. Like I said, I was nuts. When my son was little, I learned how to make baby wipes. So I didn't have to go spend money on baby wipes. I mean, you name it, I could make it at that point. I can even make baking powder. And I still to this day make my own brown sugar, which is super simple, but you don't think about it. It's molasses and sugar mixed up with a fork, done. And I will never buy brown sugar again. I know it's
Okay.
crazy.
All right. So then we're going forward. I'm making more work for Valerie. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just you have my private messenger. Just send it to me. It's fine.
Well, no, I'm just putting you on the spot here. Maybe also have some sort of membership, maybe with the subscription box,
Mhm.
where they have access to like recipes for like the brown sugar.
Oh, oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And you know,
Hmm.
and it's, you know what, yeah, it's your time to put it up, but
Mhm.
it's not, once it's up, it's up.
Right. Exactly.
You
Yep.
can do a subscription box plus, where for, I don't know, an extra $5, $10 a month, they get access to those little extra things on your,
Oh, like a Patreon sort of thing, almost.
almost like a Patreon type of thing.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, that's for sure. Because I'd love to get back into making things. That's the one thing that I realized when we moved to this place and we started the business in earnest, and I really truly like hit the ground running with mobile. I got so overwhelmed with being in the van all day and physically working all day that I stopped creating in the way that I was before. And I didn't realize until I made my first batch of lip balm and I went, oh my God, there it is. Like I've missed that part of me so much that now I'm super excited to be able to do more and bring it to people, and share it with other people.
That's it. When you stop doing something you really love, and I realized for me too, where some of my burnout was coming for, I wasn't reading, I wasn't picking up something to read.
Mhm.
And there was really a resistance to doing that.
Mhm.
And that's the burnout talking.
Yeah, it is.
Now I have like a reading nook in my greenhouse.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and what today on my to-do list is, because my state of being is chaos,
Mhm.
what's on my to-do list today is going down and like organizing my shelves and stuff, not the plants, everything there
Mhm.
is good. But my plants, the stuff that I have for the greenhouse got a little scattered because I was working on it. And now I want to do microgreens and start seeds. So
Oh, cool.
I need to organize it a little bit.
Mhm.
So that's on my to-do list today. And it's an
Excellent.
actual item on my to-do list. But what'll happen is I'm going to go down to my to-do list. I'm going to take some reading material with me, because then part of organizing it will then, after I organize it, like my reward is to sit in my greenhouse and read for a little while.
Mhm. That's gotta be so relaxing.
It is. It is.
Do you read, what was I gonna say, do you read out loud to your plants?
No, but I could.
You could. That'd be good for you and for them.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's actually a greenhouse task now.
Mhm.
See how that happens?
Yeah.
Now it's actually a task I have to do because it's for my plants.
Yep, absolutely. You gotta care for them like they're kids.
Yeah. So, okay. Um, I think we need to finish up this podcast
You
now.
got stuff to do.
What to do now? I gotta go meet my plants. Okay. So, Valerie.
Mhm.
All right. Before we finish up,
Yeah.
words of wisdom. What do you got for the listeners?
Take all the classes because you never ever know what you are going to pick up, even if it is a one-liner from somebody and you only take one little thing away from it. That's one more thing in your pocket that you didn't have before.
Great advice.
Thank
So,
you.
Valerie, thank you for taking time to be here. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And everybody join us in 2 weeks when I interview someone else making a difference in the pet industry.